I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 337. Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello, all my dear friends all over the world. Just so you know, this is my second podcast on this topic, because the first podcast, as I was talking to you and telling you my stories and telling you everything that I wanted you to know, I found out it wasn't recording. So all my brilliance just went out the window and nobody gets to hear it. But I'm thinking, as I always do, I believe that what I'm going to say now is going to be better. So here's what I want to talk to you about today. And here's what I was talking about is I was talking about number one, it's the beginning of transition in terms of going from summer to fall. And that is very exciting to me. And it's also very disappointing to me. And I sit between both of those feelings of disappointment because I love a lot of things that happen in the summer, but also I love a lot of things that happen in the fall. And I'm in the middle of both of those things. And what I told you in my first podcast that you're never going to hear because it didn't get recorded, but what I was telling you was that one of the things that I decided to do to prepare myself for this fall was I decided to have fall flowers planted in the front of my house, all around my hummingbird feeders. And I had my landscaper, Alice, beautifully do that for me. And I have to tell you that I am much, much more excited now about the change of season. Not only are there beautiful things about fall, but now I have my flowers and I get to watch them bloom and I get to see what they do or what they don't do. I get to see what the deer do and don't do with my flowers. But when I look outside and I sit outside, I have this feeling in my stomach of butterflies. And now I'm going to say hummingbirds because I actually love hummingbirds and I have them all around my house. And I get so excited when I see a hummingbird and I get so excited when I look at my flowers now. I kind of sound like my mom, which is really good because we're going to talk about moms today. But my mom gets so excited when she sees flowers. It just excites her to no end. And I felt just like my mom. It's just like she trained me in my head to get all excited because I did. And I felt hummingbirds in my stomach as I saw hummingbirds flying around me and also looking at all the beautiful flowers that had just been planted with the hummingbirds. It was a sight to behold. And I'm very excited now about the new season coming of fall. Now, what I want to talk to you about is not quite about the seasons, but what I do want to talk to you about is your mom and my mom. That's why I kind of mentioned her to kind of prepare you. This is actually going to be an episode about moms because I would say over the years, probably 75% of all the women, hundreds of women that I've coached and talked to in groups, individually, have something to say about their mothers and their bodies and their weight. And I want to share a little bit about that with you because in the end, what happened to you in your childhood is over, and what you have now are your thoughts about it. And I do not want to minimize childhood or traumas or anything like that. That's not what this podcast is about. But for those of you who have either had therapy on your childhood, or for those of you who just are irritated about things in your childhood when it comes to your mom, which I know are many of you, this podcast could be very helpful. But please know I am not minimizing things that happen in childhood that require therapy. That is not what this is about. I am a life coach. And so what I do is I help you manage your mind around your thinking now about what happened in the past. And that can be very, very powerful when you're moving forward about you and your body and what you put in your mouth. Now, I want to give you an example of this, of what happened to me, and then I want you to think about it for yourself, because this is what I know for sure. Whatever happened many, many years ago with your mother, she said something, she gave you a look, your parents did something, they made you feel a certain thing that you think, whatever it is, what you think now carries great weight and great purpose. And I want you to be much, much more in charge of your thinking about what happened then. I want you to be more in charge of your thinking now. I want you to use your thinking to help you move forward wherever you are. So, I want to give you an example of something that happened with my mom. So, my mom is 92 years old now, and she's amazing. And I visit her often, and we spend a lot of time. One of the things that we do when we spend time together is she loves to listen to my podcast. My mother thinks I'm brilliant. And I got to tell you, it's great to have a mom that thinks you're brilliant. And I know not all of you have that, but you get to believe anything you want. So I believe that my mom thinks I'm brilliant and she tells me that, and I tend to believe it. And I can remember even when I was younger and my mom would tell me really beautiful things about myself. And you know what I would think? I would think, well, she's just my mom. She's just saying it. She doesn't really believe it. I'm not really amazing. That's where I used to live. And I'm not saying that long ago. She would tell me great things and I would poo poo it. And I would think she doesn't really mean it. I know what she really thinks. Are you like that? Do you still do that? Well, if you do, I know for some of you, your moms are here. I know for some of you, your moms are not here. But I'll tell you what, all your moms are in your heads and in your hearts and in your bodies. And we have a lot of control over our thinking about that. So with my mom, I decided now that I agree with my mom. I do. I think I'm brilliant and I do think my podcasts are wonderful. And when we listen to them together, she has this smile on her face and she just looks at me and she says, "You are amazing. I can't believe what you say in those podcasts. I learn from you every single time. And I always feel better. And I bet all the people that are listening to you feel the same way." Now, 20 years ago, maybe when I was your age in my 50s, I would not have believed her. In fact, I think when a lot of people would say things to me, I did not believe them. And that's because I didn't believe it myself. And it's really hard for someone to tell you something really good about yourself if you don't believe it. And so I just want you to notice that as you're walking around and you're around people who really love you. And if they tell you something that's really amazing, watch how you respond to it and know that you have a choice how you want to respond to it. And if I were you, if you don't believe something and it's a beautiful compliment, I would work on believing it. I would practice believing it and finding out what is in your way of not believing it. Now, this gets me to the idea of your body, your weight, and your mom, and my body, my weight, and my mom. So let me give you a little story. I think I've said this before in my podcast, but I want you to hear it again because seriously, 75% of all the women that I work with have stuff with their moms that do not serve them in their present moments, do not help them when they put food in their mouth, do not help them when they look in the mirror at themselves because of something they thought they heard, something they thought they believed, even if it was or it was not said. Our brains are just crazy what they do. And since we have so much domain over our brains, we have to notice this. So I want to give you an example with my body, my weight, and my mom. Okay. So growing up, my whole thing with my body started when I was 12 or 13 years old because I was being weighed with a bunch of other people in my class. And I found out I weighed more than they did. And then all of a sudden, I had a mom that was very, very concerned with her image and how she looked, and therefore how I looked. At least in my mind, that's what I believed. And I started at that time at 12 or 13 years old, restricting and depriving myself of food, starting to diet, wanting to lose weight when I had no weight problem whatsoever. None, only in my mind. And when I started restricting myself, I kind of got complimented and rewarded for it for my mom for having such good willpower and discipline because body image was very, very important to her. And you know what? I think body image is really important to women overall. And what messages they give to their daughters really is not a personal affront on their daughters. It's just the way they were raised and what they think and how they are getting through life. But I didn't know that, and you probably didn't know that either. But that was just the very, very beginning of believing there was something wrong with me, that I was fat when I wasn't. And I started looking, and my mom, she was and is a beautiful woman. And she really took care of herself. It was very, very important to her. She grew up in a family where image was very, very important. I probably was around a lot of family members where this was talked about, and probably in between all of them, they were probably saying things about bodies and weight, more than likely. So I grew up believing from that time that there was something wrong with my body and I had to lose weight. I never stopped thinking that. From the time that I was 13 years old, with all the different things that I did, and all the different diets that I did, and becoming a chiropractor and becoming a nutritionist and knowing all the things that I did, I always still at some level believed that there was something wrong with me and losing weight would be the answer because somehow I got that message very, very young. And I can even remember my mom's probably going to listen to this podcast. So I want to be really clear that my mom, I know, and maybe you'll be able to come to this too, was not a personal affront on me. She loved me and she wanted the best for me. And when she would come home from a trip, I just have to tell you some of the things. I knew that I gained weight. And if she came home from a trip, I would just look at her and I thought I could tell just by looking at her what she was thinking about me and that I looked fat and that I was ugly. And she knew that I had been eating and she knew that I had been off my diet. And honest to goodness, I don't think she ever said anything. And when she goes back and tells me about what it was like raising me, she doesn't really talk about that at all. I was thinking all of these things because of the way that she treated herself and maybe the things that she said around me, but not really what she said to me that I can remember. But I always thought that no matter what she said to me, I made it mean I was fat and there was something wrong with me. This is what I know now. And this is after really learning a lot about my own self, being coached a lot, even having some therapy on it. But this is the thing, and this is what I want to talk to you about now because it's really, really important. When I go to her house now and I see her a couple times a week, one of the things that she always says to me, I mean, every single time, is, "Oh my gosh, you've kept your weight off. That is amazing. You look wonderful. You're so thin." She says that to me every single time. And she's said it every single time for I don't know how many years. And one of the things that I noticed after a while is that when she says it, I would feel really irritated inside. And I would kind of gloss over all this and say to myself, well, you shouldn't feel like that and blah, blah, blah. You know how we do with our feelings. Oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't feel that and ignore it. But because I'm a coach and because I'm doing this work on body work and body image and food, I just noticed finally I am irritated. Why am I so irritated? And this is what I came to realize. I was irritated because I was actually thinking that she was thinking that somehow I still had some kind of a weight problem and that she was almost saying to me, "You're okay because you're thin." And a convoluted way in my mind, I was making it mean something negative, not a compliment, something negative. That she was still insinuating something to me like she did when I was little. Like she didn't mean that. She really means something else. We all do when we're kids. We look at our parents, we look at their faces, and we make things mean things that they may or may not meant. So finally, I decided, and this is what I would ask you to do too, if your mom is still around, and if she's not, you can still do the work on it. I'll tell you that much. But what I did is I finally just said to her, Mom, What do you mean? Why do you keep saying that to me about my weight? I was kind of like irritated a little bit, but I wanted to know. And there's a big difference between what your brain makes things mean and when you actually ask somebody, what did they mean? And what I'm going to recommend to you is that you ask somebody what they mean if you don't know, if you're making stuff up in your head. Because the things that I was making it mean was not serving me and was irritating me. She thinks something's wrong with me. Really, that's what I was still thinking. Here I am. I'm 70 years old. My mom is 92, and I'm still irritated when she says something about my weight. And this is what I want you to know is that this is what she said to me once I asked her. She said, "Oh, honey, I am just so happy for you. Every time I see you and I see how good you look, and I know what a struggle it was for you for so much of your life, I'm just so happy for you. I can't help but say it to you every single time because it thrills me to know that it's not a problem for you anymore. I'm just so happy for you." That's what she meant. And when she said that, her eyes blazed with love. They were sparkling, and you could just see how proud and happy she was for me. She was just happy for me. That's all. She's my mom. She always wanted me to be happy. She knew that my weight was a source of unhappiness, and she knows that I solved it and I figured it out, and I'm spreading my message to the whole world. And her eyes blazed with happiness for her daughter. That's all she meant. And I got that message for the first time because I asked and cleaned up my own thinking. And I want you to do the same thing. Because now, when I walk in that door and she says to me something about my weight, I go, "Thanks, Mom. I know I had a struggle. It's so great to be free." And she just smiles and she says, "Yeah. And you're helping so many other people too. And you created a second career and you're doing something that you really love." I mean, so much great stuff coming from her mouth. And we sit there and we both smile because what she says is what I hear. And we both agree that I am amazing. This is what I want to offer you too. You get to believe anything you want about yourself, no matter what you heard, no matter what you think you heard. You get to believe whatever you want now. And even if you know that when you were younger, your mother said, "You're fat," or "You're never going to get a man," or "Oh my God," all the things that they say, it's not a personal thing about you. It's just where they're coming from. It's just their heads. It's just their thinking. You are an adult now. You get to mother yourself, and you can mother yourself any way you want, even if your mother didn't get the message across to you that you needed. You now can take that message and make it anything that you want, and you can believe anything you want about your past and your mother. I suggest you make it something that makes you believe that you're amazing too, because I'll tell you what, I don't feel irritated when she says that anymore. We both blaze with happiness in our eyes because I'm proud of me and she's proud of me. And I know where I came from and she knows where I came from. And wherever you are, I know this is where you want to be too. And if your mom is in the way of you getting there, know that your thinking about your past can be changed. And once again, I don't want to undermine the difference between therapy and coaching. There's a big difference. You know if you're a candidate for what I'm talking about here right now. And if you are, listen up to me. If something is bugging you about your mom and she's still here, you get to ask her. If she's not here, you get to ask yourself. And if she is here and you don't want to ask her, you still get to ask yourself. And you can believe anything you want about yourself now. Just make sure it serves you so that not only can you have a beautiful relationship with yourself, but also a relationship with what you put in your mouth and what you put in your head. Our moms kind of have a lot of power. Let's make sure we use that power in a way that serves us and doesn't hurt us. Okay, this was a big, deep topic today, and I hope that it helped you. And of course, before I get off, there's two other things that I want to say. Number one, all the stuff that I'm talking about is going to be part of this new streamlined course that's going to be coming out really soon that I've been talking about. So if you are not on the waiting list, and you want to understand more about what goes on in your mind with me or without me, then go to drdebbutler.com/new so that you can get on the wait list for all the stuff that I'm going to be talking about your past thoughts, your thoughts now, how you relate to food. It's all part of the course. And of course, as always, I would never end this podcast. And I know my mom is listening, and if I'm with her when she listens to this podcast, she repeats what I'm going to say to you. So just imagine me and my mom both saying to you, no matter where you go and no matter what else you do, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself. And I'll see you next week. And hey, Mom, thanks. Bye-bye. If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com/change, and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebbutler.com/change, CHANGE.